Looking back over the past few months has been a magical experience. I just took a pause this morning and thought about how I've changed between July and right now. And it's been really awesome to think about the improvements I've had. And the reason for this, or the big reason for this, is that I've completely changed the way I learn and implement what I learned. And it's really made a huge impact in how I've approached learning and what I've done, basically. So in this video, I'm going to try to explain to you and teach you how I now learn, and I'm going to talk about the mistakes I made for the first 2 years of self-improvement that prohibited me from actually doing the thing the video talks about. So, for the first 2 years of my self-improvement journey, I did watch a lot of self-improvement videos, whether it was discipline or, willpower, exercise, calisthenics, stuff like that, right? I did spend a lot of time on YouTube watching these videos, and I really thought I was being productive. I believed I was doing the right thing. I was getting motivated, and it would make me want to actually do stuff in real life. But for a long time, I never really felt like I actually did anything. I was watching all these videos explaining how to do stuff, but I never took action on it, and therefore I never got anywhere. And that made me think about why, after months of watching tutorials and videos and all this stuff, right? Why I wasn't getting anywhere. And I just realized I was getting the information, I just wasn't retaining it for long enough in order to take action on it. I never felt like I could take action on it because I would just not remember what I learned. And that's really where I made the first improvement. A few months later, the first thing I started doing was watching longer form, more unedited videos, right? So, in general, in my experience, the more unedited and the longer a video is, the better value it'll give for your time. And I know they're a lot more boring, but usually the really quick-paced, very fastly edited videos are, you won't learn as much. They're a lot more general, in my opinion. Like, I think they're more motivational tools rather than tutorials a lot of the time. And so that was one of the first things I experienced, realizing. And that was one of the things I changed the quickest, which was I transitioned to less fast videos and more slower paced, longer, full guides, basically. And I think that was one of the main things, because I could actually learn. I could actually remember what I learned, because a 5-hour video, you're not gonna forget that, right? It's a lot harder to forget a 5-hour video than 20 whatever minute videos, right? You're obviously gonna remember the longer video a lot better. Another really important thing that I focused on is actually taking notes on the videos. This allowed me to remember what I learned a lot better. And any notebook works, right? You can use Post-its, you can use a normal notebook. For example, my cousin used to have a wall of Post-its, and it was like a splash of color everywhere, and she used it to remember stuff that she didn't want to forget. And I wish I started doing that sooner. I have this notebook right now that I'm filling in, and it's been a really important thing for me to take notes on these longer guides, right? Because then, one, you're actually getting good, valid information that can help you with your goals, and two, you're actually remembering that information. and that makes it a lot easier to take action on it, right? And so yeah, taking notes has been super important. I've kind of changed the way I do notes. I used to do like a Cornell notes style thing where I would do like notes on one side and then how do you call it? Like things I thought about the notes, like thoughts and ideas around the notes, and I would do that on the left side. But I kind of just mix everything up now. I just like add rows and I make different sections depending on what the video's on, the topic, and I find it easier to organize. And it's worked for me. It doesn't necessarily have to work for you. I'd say just find a way to experiment with note taking, see if it helps you, see what type of notes work best for you, and yeah, just go from there. Another thing is having the right mindset to actually learn, right? Don't watch this video in the background. Don't be distracted, right? If you're distracted, you're not gonna, one, take notes, and two, you're not gonna remember any of the information because it's just background noise, right? Your brain is good at focusing at one thing, and if that one thing is not the video, then you're not gonna take away much from it, right? It's just wasted time, wasted, screen time. And this used to be a really big problem for me. Like 2 or 3 years ago, I would watch YouTube videos and I would also play Rocket League at the same time. And I never learned anything, obviously, but I also wasn't having as much fun. I was just overloading my dopamine sensors, and it had to stop, right? I was just getting too addicted. But yeah, make sure to focus on what you're doing. Focus on either watching the videos, or if you need to do something else, do that and then come back when you have like a fresh brain. I could tell you it's really helped me out. Yeah, and just focus on taking notes, learning, doing all this stuff to help you propel for your future, right? The next thing, okay, this was very difficult for me, but actually taking action on this stuff, right? There's no point in watching a video, taking notes, paying attention, if you're not going to do anything about it, right? If it just stays in your mind and it doesn't come out as a physical, action or anything, then it was kind of just wasted, right? Imagine watching a 5-hour tutorial or a 5-hour guide and not doing anything about it, right? That's just kind of a waste of time. You might as well just focus on watching the video, but also performing the action that was associated with it, right? Because then it would be worth it. Then you would actually have something that it was important for. And if you're just like going from thing to thing and you're just not taking action on anything, then nothing would really be worth it for you, for your time on YouTube, because you're not going to do what they say. And if you're not doing what they say, you might as well just not watch the video, right? Spend some time outside if you're not going to do anything. But yeah, taking action has been really the hardest thing. One thing that really worked for me was the 5-second thing, which was when I realize that I'm not doing anything, I just count down from 5 and it forces me to get up or start work at the count of 1, right? So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then, I started doing stuff. I would train my brain to immediately at 1 say, all right, let's get to work. Let's start. It's time. And this has also really helped me. Although, yeah, it has really helped me, actually. Another thing that actually really helped me with taking action was the phrase, don't count the days, make the days count. And I think the reason this helped me so much is because it helped me realize that the amount of days passed doesn't really matter if you're just trying to do work. It's more how you spend that time that actually matters, because there's always, like, I've seen videos where it's like, I've done how I do 7 days of work in one day or whatever, right? And I always thought that was so cool because he's spending so much time in one day doing what would take the average person, a week. And that's very important for skills, right? Because the saying, it takes 10,000 hours to become a master at something. And really, the more time you focus on it, the closer you'll get to that 10,000 hour mark. And so wasting the days doing all this stuff that's not what your actual goal is really doesn't help you at all, even if the day already went past. So yeah, spend your time wisely. And yeah, that was one of the things that really helped me, because it made me realize that time is always passing, right? No money bought time ever. So take your time, but don't waste it. Really, the last thing in this cycle or process is just to learn from experiences, right? So if you're trying to learn calisthenics, right, like I did, or I am, I did thousands of fails. I did thousands of attempts before I was able to get even a straddle planche, right? And I would each time focus on, one, recording the attempt so I could, one, use it for a progression video, and two, just so I knew what I was doing wrong, how I could fix it. And I just watched plenty of tutorials, and I would actually use those tutorials, right? I would see what I was doing wrong. I would pay attention to the tutorials. I did the notes. I did everything. And then once it came down to do the workout itself, I used my notes and the tutorial to improve my form, improve my strength, whatever, all that, right? And I did this for many months. And after a year and a half, I finally got the straddle planche. I was so proud of myself, and we're almost at the full planche right now. We have a little bit of time left, but I can feel it getting a lot closer. And really, the 4 steps I mentioned before really helped with that. But it also takes lessons from past experiences to keep on improving, right? Learning is an unending task. You can never really become too smart at anything, and so having a learner's mindset is really important for a lot of the goals that I've set, and I hope that you've set some as well. And yeah, it's super important to keep learning even when you've achieved the goal that you wanted, in my opinion. Maybe you have a different one, but yeah, agree to disagree if you don't agree. But yeah, that's really the end of the video. I hope it was helpful. Yeah, because I wish I would have learned this stuff like 2 or 3 years ago when I was first starting out with self-improvement. But yeah, I'll see you in the next one. Do the algorithm stuff, like, subscribe, and I'm gonna go eat a pomegranate.